On January 27, 2017, 36-year-old Timothy Verrill brutally stabbed and beat 2 women to death in a Farmington, New Hampshire house. 48-year-old Christine Sullivan, who lived in the home with her boyfriend Dean Smaronk, and 32-year-old Jenna Pellegrini, who was a house guest, were sleeping at the time Tim entered the house. Dean was not home at the time, however, he and Tim were members of the Mountain Man Motorcycle Club, which was an organization known to deal drugs. Tim thought one of the women was a police informant, so he snuck in to take care of the threat. The investigators noticed the house happened to have an Amazon Echo. They thought it might have captured crucial audio evidence that could shed light on the events that transpired during those fatal hours. In a groundbreaking move that blurred the line of digital privacy, a judge ordered Amazon to hand over the Echo recordings. Once the recordings were listened to, Tim was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of second-degree murder. The first trial, held in October 2019, ended in a mistrial due to a procedural error made by the New Hampshire State Police in submitting evidence. After many motions and setbacks in this case, the second trial date for Timothy Verrill still hasn't been set. On October 12, 2023, 25-year-old nursing student Gina Bryant left her job for a lunch break but never returned. Her coworkers grew concerned when she didn't come back, and when they started getting unusual texts from her phone, they contacted the police. Unbeknownst to everyone, Gina's ex-boyfriend, Justin Wendling, was waiting for her at her home in Macomb, Michigan, and kidnapped her. 2 weeks earlier, Gina had broken up with him after telling her mother and sister that he had been abusing her for months. A neighbor's security camera captured Justin forcing Gina into his vehicle by using his firearm to threaten her. Around midnight, Justin pulled into Flying J truck stop in LaSalle, Illinois for gas, but the pump wasn't working properly, so he went inside to pay. Gina got out of the car and took off. Justin saw this through the window, exited the store, and tackled her to the ground. After a brief struggle, Justin shot Gina in the head in front of witnesses. He ran to his SUV and fled the scene. Justin called his parents to confess as a nationwide manhunt was underway. Later that day, his car was spotted by police at a rest stop off Interstate 80 in Bettendorf, Iowa. As officers approached the vehicle, Justin took his own life, leaving behind a trail of murder and unanswered questions. On August 15, 2016, Brenda Kennison and her brother Daniel Kennison were shot to death in Daniel's house in Spokane Valley, Washington. The horrific discovery was made by Brenda's 7-year-old son Cooper Colbert, who was outside in his mother's car during the incident. Cooper called 911 reporting that Gilberto Delgado, Brenda's estranged boyfriend, was the shooter.
Spokane 911. Somebody killed my mommy. Gilbert came in and killed my mommy and my Uncle Danny.
Gilberto reportedly arrived at the residence, chased Brenda inside, and subsequently murdered her and Daniel. Brenda had been shot multiple times while Daniel was only shot once in the abdomen. Gilberto fled the scene and was later located and arrested in a Taco Bell parking lot near Pocatello, Idaho on the following day. The motive behind the shooting was because Brenda had tried to distance herself from Gilberto due to his criminal history. Cooper, who by this time was 10 years old, testified during the trial. Gilberto Delgado was sentenced on September 6, 2019 and was given 36.5 years in prison in order to pay $45,000 in restitution. On October 27, 2021, 46-year-old Thomas Nutt strangled 52-year-old Dawn Walker to death on their wedding night at their home in Shirley Grove Brighouse in the UK. Following the murder, Nutt concealed Dawn's body in a cupboard inside the house. He then went on their honeymoon by himself in the following days. When Thomas returned home, he reported Dawn as missing to the police and even pretended to search for her with Dawn's daughter. A few days later, Thomas placed Dawn's body in a suitcase and put it behind their house in the underbrush near a playground in Lightcliff, Halifax. A neighbor noticed Nutt with the suitcase and alerted the authorities. This led to the discovery of CCTV footage which captured Nutt dragging the suitcase and disposing of it. Thomas was arrested and admitted to Dawn's murder but said that it wasn't premeditated. He instead blamed Dawn's bipolar disorder and depressive state and said he was defending himself when she got aggressive with him. Thomas's ex went on record to say that she tried to warn Dawn about his violent nature before the wedding, but Thomas blocked her on all of Dawn's social media accounts. The jury found Thomas not guilty of murder and he was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 21 years. On December 24, 2015, 23-year-old Katie Locke was murdered by 26-year-old Carl Langdell after meeting on the dating website Plenty of Fish. They had agreed to meet for their first date at the Traffic Bar in Shoreditch, East London. The night seemed to be going well as suggested by a text Katie sent to a friend. They left the bar in the early morning hours of Christmas Eve and took a taxi to Theobald's Park Hotel in Waltham Cross, Hertfordshire. The pair checked into the hotel at approximately 3:30 a.m. and that was the last time Katie was seen alive. Later that same day, Carl talked to his mother and told her that he had killed someone. When Katie didn't return home as expected, her family contacted Carl's mother to ask if she had heard from her son since they knew she had spent the night with him. Carl's mother told them what he had said and they contacted authorities immediately. He was arrested on suspicion of murder. Carl confessed to strangling Katie to death in their hotel room and then sexually assaulting her lifeless body while taking photos with his cell phone. He also admitted to moving Katie's body from the hotel in a laundry cart and dumping her in a secluded area on the hotel grounds. Authorities also learned that Carl had an extensive history of mental illness as well as sadistic fantasies about women. Carl pleaded guilty to Katie's murder and was sentenced to 26 years in prison. On February 11, 2021, Carl Langdell was found dead in a pool of blood on the floor of his cell. It was later determined that he slashed his throat after making multiple suicide threats in the weeks prior.